Welcome back to another episode of RNT Fitness Radio. Today I'm joined by one of our RNT coaches, Indi Rajpal, who's been on an incredible journey over the years and overcome many struggles to get where he is now. His reason for getting into the industry is extremely strong, which I'll let him explain about in today's episode. But what really strikes me about Indi is he'll never give up and he'll fight to the very end. At 21 years old, he was hit by a bus that left him with a brain hemorrhage and being told he had 2 days to live. 5 years later, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which led to a year of chemotherapy and going up to between 120 and 130 kilos in body weight. After having lost the equivalent of another human, Indi's on a mission now to help as many people as possible overcome their own struggles and limiting beliefs to live a life of fulfillment on your own terms. A truly incredible episode, and I can't wait for you to hear Indi's story. Let's dive in. You're really happy.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to make of this. It's something that's just totally new for me. So, yeah, let's see how it goes.
No, I think you've got an incredible story, and you've been through so much. You've had such an amazing journey that you should be really excited to share with everyone, and hopefully inspire people, which is what it's all about.
That's it, mate. I mean, yeah, I think people forget how truly amazing they are, what they can really do. And whenever people hear my story, and it's not me putting myself down, but I don't think I'm nothing special when anyone can do the same. So, I do hope my story does kind of inspire someone and make them realize that, they have the capacity to achieve whatever it is they desire in life as well. And anything's possible, man.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, most people do have that limiting belief on themselves, and they never really explore their full potential because of these limiting beliefs.
Yeah, you're right there.
And I know
I still have the same, don't I, as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not only, we can talk about yours and we can talk about mine as well, but I know this is something that you really try and explore with your clients and really hone in on, because if you can remove these limiting beliefs, everything in your life changes.
Correct, yeah, 100%. And sometimes it's like not even, I guess those limiting beliefs are always there deep down. Even, I don't say you can necessarily remove them, but it's just becoming more aware of them and using them to your advantage instead of using them as a negative. Use them more as a kind of catalyst to move forward. Because even me, going through all I have and coming through all that, I still have my moments when I'm like, okay, I can't do this or I can't do that, or I'm failing here. But that's part of the journey, I guess. It's just how you face it. The one thing I'll always say to people is like, treat those emotions and those feelings like the clouds, they'll pass by. But if you try to hang on to them, then it just gets worse. So treat it like that. Let them go through those emotions, but let them fly by and not just kind of hold on to them. And that's what we tend to do. We end up grabbing a hold of them because it's easy to do that, I guess. And letting go is kind of it's also like going into new territory, because when you're used to certain habits, it's hard to change them, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not just physical habits that we have, it's the mental habits, and these are probably the hardest ones to break. Talk to us about definitely how people can use these limiting beliefs and use these habitually negative thoughts and actually let go or work on letting them go, because the first step obviously is creating self-awareness around them, which is in itself a big part of it. But once you've created this awareness, how do we move then to the next phase, which is trying to let go and like you said, let the clouds go past you?
Well, I guess one belief I guess a lot of people have, and one of the reasons they come to us, is the fact that they don't feel confident in how they look. And I know with me, I guess all the beliefs we have in life are kind of rooted from a younger age, and they're given to us by the society or our parents or family and so forth, or other people. And we never really question those beliefs. Like I've always been like quite a fat, chubby kid when I was younger, and and I was quite happy like that, to be honest with you. It didn't really faze me. But then when society and my parents would say that, you're overweight, you don't look good, and that is what created a limiting belief with me. So the first thing I'd say to people is kind of question those beliefs. How you view yourself, is that how you think of yourself, or is that all someone else told you? you should be like to fit in, or are you gauging your beliefs on other people's views of you and not necessarily what you think of yourself? Because we'll kind of look to, I guess, outside sources on me to fulfill that kind of happiness, I suppose, if you want to call it. But ultimately, I guess it's within you, isn't it? And so one of the things I used to do to kind of start on like knocking my limiting belief down of how I looked and how I felt was to kind of journal. So I remember when I was 12 years old, I used to start journaling every night. You know, I just put down the aspects of being actually were positive. The looks aside, and what actually the benefit of being slightly fatter did for me, and made a kind of a positive twist to it. And I found, obviously, when I started lifting when the age of 13, being heavier, mass move mass, you know, and I was able to go in and do some solid lifts. So yeah, good enough. I didn't look like Mr. Universe, but I could go in the gym, outlift most guys older than me, you know, because I used that kind of chubby side of me as my kind of my strength. So I found that, okay, the weakness that I thought was my weakness of my look and my weight actually worked to my benefit in the weight room. So that was the kind of first thing I did to kind of use it as advantage. And then slowly, I just looked at ultimately how I felt in my skin. And yeah, being overweight wasn't necessarily healthy, but I was content with that. So I moved forward with that. So yeah, that's one thing I did to start with. So yeah, it's just find the positive in how looking the way you are currently benefits you. Like I always make a joke to people, you know, it's being chubby is great in winter, you know, it keeps you warm. You know, it's always find the funny side in it. And so yeah, that's me naturally. I'll always find a funny side to things and a positive twist to it, but not necessarily going to have that capacity, because sometimes for people being overweight, there's so much more happening than just that in the background. And that's why I guess with the clientele we have, it's not simply, here you go, here's the program, here's what you're doing for the next 12 months and so forth, whatever. It's okay, how can we get into you and how to make this journey specialized to you? And I guess so far that's what's been our success as RNT. You know, it's not just a generic sort of template or system we give to our people. You know, we want to really make it about them, because as we always say, you know, it's more than the physical.
Yeah, you touched on some really good points there. And the one I really like was finding the upside in any negative situation and seeing how it serves you. And it's something that I was taught by, she I don't know, she calls herself, I don't know what to call her, because when she speaks to me, my view on everything changes. So her name's Manmeet, you can call her a life coach, but she always talks about neutralizing situations and always seeing the upsides in everything, and looking how a potentially negative situation can serve you in that moment, and how it's really life teaching you something or making you aware of a certain aspect of feeling or belief or whatever it is. And I know you're a big fan of that. And
yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, we generally, we as a society are very reactive, aren't we? Yeah. And ultimately, the meaning for something is given when you give it the meaning. Everything's neutral in life. Like, for example, some of the guys listening now obviously know that my story. And for example, I went through a year of chemotherapy, and when I was diagnosed with the Hodgkin's lymphoma, I was like, cool, I'll be fine. And the doctor's reaction was quite shocking. She was like, are you sure you're not in denial? I said, no. I said, do you want me to be upset or just accept it? Because when you hear someone that, everyone's initial reaction would to be upset. But then I was like, I had that momentary pause, and I was like, cool, took myself out of the kind of seat.
Yeah.
And said, kept it neutral. And I was like, and I responded back. I didn't react back to her statement. And I was like, I'll be fine. And in that very moment, that choice I made to respond back, and that positive affirmation then created a positive reality out of it. So it's the choice you make, you know. And I think the way we are now, we are very reactive. But no one actually pauses, has a little breath, and says, okay, I have a choice now, respond or react. And then whatever you decide then will create what follows next. And I think that's something I put a big stock in my life right now. Is like, I used to be a very reactive person. My emotions used to run me over like big time, like to the point when I was younger, I guess being an introvert as well, you take things to heart quite easily. So, you know, I'd have suicidal tendency, you know, when I was younger, because I took things to my heart too easily. And I went down that far to the point when I was like 14 years old. I was like, okay, I've had enough. And it was because of people and society was how I reacted to that, because ultimately how people were was them. And it was my decision then to be like, how I'm going to respond or react to that statement or whatever I saw. And I always chose the negative because of obviously the underlying layers with me of limiting beliefs and doubt and so forth. But then I think it was when I was around about 16, I came across, I can't remember what book it was, but I just started to realize, okay, yeah, I actually, life happens for me if I let it. So I started to change the way I thought about situations and was like, okay, I can't change the opinion that someone has of me. So if someone thought I was fat, that's their opinion of me, but not necessarily how I viewed myself. So I stopped trying to react to those opinions and be like, have a little break, and then from the journaling, I move over to like every night having a self-dialogue with myself. So I'd always light a candle, which I still do, go through some breathing exercises and just have a chat with myself. So, I'm a bit of a lunatic talking to myself in the evenings, but it's just that self-dialogue, because I also believe that, the answers tend to come to you naturally yourself. So it was almost just me kind of consciously asking this higher self within me, like, how was today? How is it going? Did this worry you? How was that? And then I'd have a moment to step back and then the answers just came to me. So, yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, try to create yourself in a state of not being too reactive to situations in life, and do your best to just, as soon as something happens, have that split second of pause, take a breath, and then respond back. Because whatever you do will then create what happens next. And I used to be very much like sympathetic, and I still am. That's a big part of me. But I also realized that, you know what, it's up to us, because no one's going to do anything for us. And even us as we're here now, our clients have hired us as coaches to help them out. We're only opening doors for them. We're facilitators. It's for them to kind of then step through. And then sometimes, maybe I'm too nice to my guys, and I'll be like, okay, it's fine. You slipped up, but carry on. But sometimes it's like, no, take responsibility, take control, because you can do this, because we're not going to ultimately be able to do everything for you. We're one part of your journey.
Yeah, I really love that term, facilitators. I've always thought of us as facilitators of creating more change than only just the physical and whatever their goal may be. And I really like your point on taking yourself out of the situation and neutralizing it before reacting, because I've been the same as you in that I've been very reactive in the past. But one thing in the last year, especially, I've tried to neutralize a lot of emotions and feelings in the moment, and try to see it from the higher self point of view that you mentioned. And it certainly does help, and it does reduce a lot of the stress and the anxiety that a lot of people are faced with in this current world, because of this reactive nature that we're all living in, and being bombarded with constant information and constant stimulus all the time is only serving to feed this reactive nature and build upon it. Yeah,
100%. And I mean, I'm a big fan of obviously personal development and psychology from a young age. And I've had the pleasure of reading many books and working with loads of coaches, but I also realized that no one actually knows your journey. So you can read all these self-help books, go to all these lectures, but that individual delivering that talk or the person who's doing the book is not going to necessarily know you have stepped into your shoes. So what we're going to be doing even as coaches is giving you snippets of our journey and how we dealt with situations, but then how you deal with it is going to be unique to you.
Mm.
So again, it's all down to your perception of the reality. Then, I've pulled back from reading books now and attending courses purely because I realized that it was almost the same thing you'd hear all the time, but then finding a way of how to actually apply it to my life, and even now, you have great platforms like social media, and people posting loads of stuff these days, great inspirational things, but ultimately it's like, until you actually apply that, reading or listening to these things doesn't make a difference, and because ultimately all these books have the same key message, and it's all down to then say, okay, I'm going to use it now instead of going reading the next book or that and that. So that's another thing I'd say is just it's very simple to change, and we overcomplicate the process. But I guess within us, we kind of have that belief that whatever we deserve has to come hard. When in truth, in my opinion, the universe reaches out to you and says, look, I'm here, whatever you want, it gives it to you. But then again, goes back to this limiting beliefs and these conditions we have within us that we don't believe, we don't deserve what we want. Like I was there, I started my weight loss journey. It was going great. And I was like, this is too good to be true. And then I end up sabotaging myself. And this is the same thing that happens generally in other aspects of people's lives. When it comes to a business, relationship, things seem to go perfectly. And then you find something within you to sabotage the situation. And that's what I found with some of my clients. They want to run, the weight's coming down, they're looking good. And then there's momentary stop with them and they're like, nah, this is too easy. This is too good to be true. And then, oh, sorry, I've gone and binged. Or I didn't make my workout this week. Or I didn't get my steps in. And I want to say to people, it's like, you deserve it, and you've done it, so embrace that reward and, you're earning it and it's there for you to take, but we still have that thing like, nah, it's not that easy. And in truth, it is. In my view, life is very simple, but we as a species complicate things and make it so much more than it is.
Where do you think,
gone off a bit of a tangent there, I guess.
Where do you think that comes from?
I guess it's social conditioning, isn't it? I mean, so for me personally, so let's look at my story now. My parents, absolute legends, they came to this country in the 60s, worked hard to create, a great life for me and my brothers, us as a family, to the point where money was never an issue, and we could do whatever we wanted. But their belief was that you have to work hard and the money comes by saving every single penny. So they grafted. And then from a young age, I thought, okay, you had to work hard and you had to graft. And I did that. But I stepped back and realized, actually, in my view, money is just energy. And we put too much emphasis on it, for example, and we end up chasing it and it eludes us. And then when I actually stepped back and thought, okay, no, you know what? I want to do something I enjoy in my life and focus on adding value to people's life and put money as a secondary thing. It just followed in abundance so easily, because I never chased, okay, I need to earn X amount this year. It was like, I want to be able to reach out to this many people. And then the money was a natural byproduct of that. So again, I think it's down to the conditioning and beliefs we have instilled with us deep down that create these kind of blocks in us from getting to where we were. Even with weight loss, there's so many different things out there to do. And again, I think it's overcomplicated with what's out there. But we all know it's a simple thing. Put yourself into a calorie deficit, move 3 times a week, in the gym and do your steps, and there you go. But can it be that simple? People are like, no, it has to be complex to that. There has to be more to it. And actually, no, it's that quite simple, And even then, I'll always say this to my clients, is like, less is more. So I've got people who are like, okay, I can train every day. I'm going to do this many steps. Can I do more cardio? Can I do this? I'm like, nah, mate, sit back. You want to be able to you want to get more for less work. So it's based the quality of what you put in, not necessarily the quantity of the work you get in.
It is a difficult attitude to take, but it's the right one to have. The simple less is more approach. But yeah. I do the same in so many aspects of my life. I'm thinking, this is too easy, or I've got too much time, and this is too relaxing. It needs to be more stressful. It needs to be more busy. Yeah. Go.
But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like people, we're kind of like, I guess from a young age, we're sold this kind of this dream in it. Okay, you're born, you're going to get this goal. So you've got to go to nursery, then you move up the ladder, you go to primary, you go to high school, university, then you're going to get yourself this great job, and then you find this person and get this house, and then you've got this goal, you've attained this goal. And you get there and you're like, is that it? And I'm like, you feel like you've kind of was sold a lie, and then you get caught in this system, and then you become this kind of statistic, another person adding to the economy, paying their taxes. And people are are in this kind of journey that's not necessarily what they want, but they feel they need to sustain a certain way of life. But ultimately, those people, and even us as well, like we know what we don't want in life, but no one actually really knows what they want in life. You know, I used to want to be able to be like, you know, have multiple properties and a great physique and X amount of money and travel this, like, and, you know, fly certain classes and so forth. And then I realized, hang on, that doesn't actually really matter to me. I just want security. I just want a little roof over my head, be able to wake up, have a laugh, go and train. And if I want to, have a good bit of food and travel when I want. And that was it. Simple. Whereas people will kind of look at others and say, okay, they will define their success or happiness according to what society says it should be. So the key thing I was trying to say to people, you know, is ask yourself what you want in life, what you really want, not what you think you should have to be happy or be fulfilled. Because in the eyes of, for example, let's say certain people in my life, I'm not successful because I'm not married, or I don't have a relationship, or my bank balance is so high, or whatever. But in my view, I'm successful and happy, you know, because I'm living my life according to what I believe my definition of happiness is. It doesn't mean I'm not fulfilled. I'm content where I am. But I'm also in that mindset that when the universe is telling me there's more, go out there and experience it. But even if I don't, I'm still content. So again, it's just asking yourself what it is you want in life.
And that's the key to fulfillment.
Yeah, that's it. And same thing as well with people's transformations. So why do they come to us? Do they? I've had a few people sign up and they be like, I want to look like this person. And I'm like, but what's wrong with you? You know, what's wrong with the person you are right now at X weight? Oh, I'm fat. You know, I've got my, you know, there's fat hanging off my hair. I don't look good in clothes. But then again, what's wrong with that individual? You know, this is one thing I want to try to get to people who come on at the start of their journey is like, if you cannot accept yourself the way you are right now, then we will give you the best tools. You know, we'll go through the process and we'll get you there. But then you'll get there and you'll be like, oh, this is still not good enough. You know, so it's the journey begins as soon as you decide to sign up. But it's then accepting the fact that, yes, I am maybe not necessarily the way I want to look right now and feel, but I'm still good the way I am. And this is one thing I keep trying to stress into people is like, don't beat yourself up. You know, and I think one thing I've really realized in this being part of RNT recently is that people don't take into account how long it actually does take to get there and how much you have to be committed to do it. And it's a very selfish act to do. Now, when you have a family and work commitments, you know, these things can get in the way of that. And then the process is going to be slightly slower then. But in those moments, it's like, don't beat yourself up because there are certain things you can't control, but just know you'll get there and you will.
Yeah.
You know, I think we give it so much importance that we have to. I think those words like, I need to, you know, I have to is a negative words. And it's like when I say, people say, I need to lose 10 kilos, or I need to lose this weight by head, you're giving it so much importance, you end up kind of pushing it away and making it harder for yourself. So again, it goes back to that kind of looking at the journey and stepping out of it and saying, okay, this is where I'm at. Yes, I'm slightly overweight. I can't necessarily perform in the gym and I get out of breath quite easily, but I'm okay the way I am. And this is me now. And I know I'll get there. I'm just going to take one step at a time. But again, it's that thing of instant gratification. I need it now. And this is me obviously being able to be like this, and not necessarily all our clients will have that ability. But then it comes back to us as the coaches or the facilitators to be like, to give them those habits and those little snippets on how to do it.
Yeah, it's very, very, very powerful. And if you can change that, if you can watch out for your words you use, if you say, I need to go to the gym, or I have to go to the gym today, or have to eat this diet, this food, it's another form of self-sabotage that will come and bite you in the end. And instead you should be inspired to go, and you should say to yourself, I want to do this. I want to change. I want to go to the gym because I know the benefits it's going to have to me. And you mentioned that it's a selfish act. And it's also important that people know that it's okay to be selfish and put yourself first. There's absolutely nothing wrong with putting yourself first. And in some cases you could say it's one of the most selfless things you could do, because if you put yourself first and you can bring your best, then you can be there for your family at all times. You can you can give your best at work, and you can bring your best to all areas of your life. if you're not functioning at your best, and if you're not at your physical, mental best, how do you expect to take care of anyone else?
That's it. And that's what I was on touch on. It's like when you get on a flight, the first thing they say to you in the safety procedures is give yourself the oxygen mask first before giving it to your child. It's the same thing in life, and this was my fault. I, from a young age, I believed that it was wrong to be selfish, and growing up as a Sikh, one of the core values for us is charity. We have the langar, the free kitchen, and we're known as a very kind of charitable culture, and we're always there for others. So that was always instilled in me, and if someone needed help, something, I was there in a heartbeat. And I thought for me, it was like, no, I put myself last. I've got to look after everyone else, do that. And I did it. And I was happy with that. But then when it came to me, I was like, okay, what about me? There's a little coin around me, that people will say that those who spend time with me turn to gold. And people who do spend time with me regularly will know this about me. Like, as much as I used to put myself down, I knew that I had this capacity to empower people and make them feel alive. And to the point where people would want to just be there because I made them feel great. And I did a great job over the years of mentoring and coaching people to be better in their goals in life. And I was always left behind. I wouldn't say left behind, but I was like, what about me? I'd always given their energies to others. And I realized that what you just said there was nothing wrong with being selfish, because if I'm at my best, and if I'm not at my best and I'm able to help others, imagine what I could do if I actually decided to put myself first. I could make a massive impact then. And that's what the whole last few years has been about me, is like being selfish in a way without me losing my integrity. So still being there for others, but thinking about me first before I rush to help others. So the key thing for me is like hold on to that integrity, because that'll always be my belief, to be there for others, but do it in a way which doesn't come across selfish. So I just think, okay,
you have to protect your energy. It's the only thing you've got. You have to protect your energy and your own self. Yeah. You have to protect the golden goose, and that's yourself.
Yeah. I mean, like, for example, 2012, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, this may go against a lot of people's opinions and beliefs, but I believe I brought that situation upon myself because I spent a lot of my life giving my energy to others. And I was also in situations where I was kind of used, for my energy, and people like vampires, and it was draining. And I almost believe the universe was saying to me, all right, I'm going to ground you now. I'm going to give you this experience for you to stop, and that's why, like, for some degrees, when I was diagnosed with that, I was like, okay, because something was bound to happen, because I was constantly giving and not stepping back and allowing me to receive anything.
That's an insane insight. And that's
well, I mean, I can go into the deeper story, but that might be too metaphysical. Go for it. Well, again, a lot of people may not want to believe this, but this is how I see morality. But a year before I was diagnosed, I had someone in my life, and I gave that person every single ounce of myself and everything, financially, time, everything. And I was there for them. And it was a great experience, but it also drained me a lot. And that's when I learned that term, emotional vampires. And it came to a point when I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't be there for this person. I need to step away. And I remember coming home one night, and I lit my candle, went through my self-dialogue. Now, one thing I believe is that words are empty, but when you couple them with emotions, they create your reality and they manifest an event. So this goes back to me and my limiting beliefs and that kind of attitude of wanting to get out of the world and not having faith in myself. I lit my candle and I was there, and I was just in tears and pain. And I said something, and I said, you know what, I wish I just had cancer, because I wanted out. I had enough. This was me harming myself, innit? Now, is this a coincidence that I got it a year later? Who knows? But my belief is that I asked for this situation. So when they tell me I had it, I'm going to deal with it. It was almost as though you wanted this, and I deal with it. The people say, be careful for what you wish for. So, that's my ultimate story. And that's what I believe, how I created that situation. And that's why in that moment when I was diagnosed with it, I took responsibility, because I was like, within me, in my belief, it's like, you asked for this a year ago, now deal with it. So that's what I believe created that situation in me for my life. So pain is a very, very powerful emotion, and it's so much more complex than we believe. And, you know, people always say you always get, when something bad happens, it happens in threes because we give it so much more energy, don't we? We always emphasize the negative, and that's where we get more of that back. And when we realize that our kind of thoughts and our words and experiences are like, you know, radio antennas. So what we're putting out there, we're getting back, aren't we? So again, this is me saying that I'm taking responsibility of my life, that I'm the creator of my life, and what happens is defined by the decisions and choices I make. And in that very moment, I chose a very negative, you know, choice, and the outcome was that. So this is how I believe, which created that situation. Or maybe there was already something within me. Maybe I was predestined to have it, or maybe there was something in my genes already that was going to cause a cancer. But the way I took it was, no, I brought this upon me, deal with it. And and then that was probably, that year of going for chemo was, from an outsider's point of view, supposed to be one of the toughest. But for me, it was actually one of the most beautiful experiences, because it made me realize, again, I always put all this negative energy out there. What if I just stood back and changed the polarity to more positive? What could I get back? So that year of, you know, eating absolutely everything under the sun, going from 72 kilos to 120, physically wasn't the best, but for my soul and my strength, it was the best experience. You know, so again, in that situation, nothing negative about it. You know, I'd walk into that the clinic every other Monday for my chemo, and they were like, "Why are you always happy for? Why are you laughing?" And I said, "Why not?" You know, so it's so that's what I believe created the situation on me getting cancer. So just in case any of your listeners are thinking out there, I'm a bit crazy, but that's me.
Co-creation with the universe.
That's it. Well, finest. I mean, it even goes down to the point, like, we are the universe made manifest, aren't we? That's my opinion, you know. And I always heard this, people trying to search for these miracles, but no one actually stops and says, what about me? You know, there's one looking right back at you in the mirror. You know, like, the fact that you're here today is a miracle. You know, there are like hundreds of seeds that fight for that one egg, and it's you that gets through. And people forget that. And in that very moment in life, the universe, the stars are aligned in a way that they will never happen again. And then you're born. So that in itself will make you realize how amazing and powerful you are. But again, we stop ourselves. You know, like, we're literally star stuff. You know, same atoms and molecules which make the stars, the universe around us. And that's within us, that same fire, that same energy is there. And we just need to find a way of tapping into it and being great. Because ultimately, I was talking to someone about this the other day, is like, what makes me different, for example, from Elon Musk? You know, he's doing SpaceX, he's out there achieving all these things. He's the same as I am. You know, we're all made of the same things. He's just got that belief. And he did it. You know, he wasn't necessarily the best at school and so forth, but he had that belief, and he's kind of succeeded. So I'm not saying we're all like Elon Musk, but we can all have that capacity to achieve what we believe we want to do in life. Nothing distinguishes us. I'm a very firm believer that it's always a level playing field. You know, we put people on pedestals and we put ourselves down in front of them, and we're like, no, everyone's the same. Just because someone's got a big bank balance or is successful in some area or has got a great physique doesn't mean they're anything better or you're less than them. We all have stories. You're seeing one side of it, you know, and always put yourself on that one level playing field with people, because we're all great. There we are. And people forget that. We always, again, this goes back to that kind of comparison attitude now of like, I need to look at that. I need to be like that. But it's like, what's wrong with you now? You know, because you're perfect the way you are. And then all we do now is just, like you mentioned, it's just at the start is seeing how far you can really go and fully go into your potential. That was one of my biggest falls from a kid. I used to compare myself to people too much. Even culturally, you know, Indians here, we're all kind of raised to kind of work hard and get married, have your multiple properties, have a big bank balance. And I didn't care for that. You know, for me, it was like, I'm happy. I wake up, I'm alive. I've got the best gift already, you know, and everything else doesn't matter. You know, I wasn't like my friends and got married in my 20s and go against my parents' wishes. You know, I was like, no, I'm going to enjoy my life because I'm content. You know, this is my view there. And I stopped comparing myself because I realized if I once I stopped saying I wanted to be like that or have that success, I found myself. And now it's like, whenever I see someone out there who's achieving greatness, I'm like, well done. You know, it's a great thing to add to your story. And I'll never be like, oh shit, I don't have that. You know, it's like, cool. And I go with me. That's it.
Yeah, you're speaking to me right now, because about a month ago on episode 67 of the podcast, I talked about how I'd fallen into a trap recently where I found myself looking at other people's Instagram accounts and thinking, oh, I don't have that, or oh, I need this, and I'd never really had that trap, but I just fallen into it, and I journal as well, like yourself, and I wrote it down in my journal. Like I'm finding myself scrolling through social media way more than normal. There's something obviously wrong here, and I need to figure out what it is inside me that's causing this. So I need to work on myself, not think I'm anything less or I'm missing something that someone else has. It's more that I need to dive deeper into what's going on in my inner psyche and see and make improvements there. But not in a comparison way, but more from a self-development perspective.
That's it. I mean, many of you guys know that I'm very not a fan of social media. I don't really go on my Instagram and Facebook as much because it's a great tool. But yeah, I'd just get into the habit of scrolling, and you waste time fairly. And then you get into that comparison mindset as well. Because what we see on these platforms is one side of people's story, and no one ever really portrays the background, don't they? And it's that we forget. We just see the kind of finished product and think, oh yeah, I want that. But no one actually knows what's gone in the background and what's actually what's been taken to achieve that. You know, we as coaches, you know, we get to work with people from all walks of life, you know, and even me doing the one-to-one coaching, you know, I get to meet people who are very successful financially and in their careers. But you don't, you know, everyone looks at, oh yeah, they've got this great bank balance or these things, but they don't actually realize what's happening in the background and what they've had to give to get that. Now, in my eyes, I wouldn't necessarily want to give up, let's say, my time, my health, relationship to get bigger bank balance or achieve a certain status in my career. But that's my value. Whereas some people may want to have that, which is fine, but you've got to do it because you want to do it, not because, oh, that person has got that, so I want to be better than them, or, you know, and so forth. So whatever your goals are, do it from a point of what it's true to you, not because you're trying to prove something to someone else or be better than them, because you're never going to get there. Because being in that mindset, you always, it's never going to be like, I've achieved it now, because some things will always change.
You've caught me in a mist of thought now. I'm self-analyzing myself.
Well,
but
I mean,
it's great, and it really does speak to me with regards to the last few months and some of the thoughts I've had, and it's something I'm definitely working on and trying to sift out.
I mean, the way I look at life is like it's like a film reel. You know, when you pull out a film reel, you've got your different slides. So the way every night I'll kind of look at what do I envision as my kind of next slide, my life, or what is it for me, you know, and then I'll backtrack and then I'll kind of work out how to get to that slide and create that journey there. And that's how I live my life, not because, oh, I've just seen something on a social media post. Oh, that person went to this hotel or flew that class or has got this experience, so I want to do it now. It's like, no, what matters to me? So I always go, I'm very much like myself. What is my life experiences? You know, what do I want to do? Because again, like to the point where I'm actually quite simple, where I'm quite happy just staying at home and reading a book and having my popcorn. That's it. You know, I don't have to go out there and do these great experiences. But I think we get caught in this thing like, oh, I'm not doing enough because these, you know, what we're seeing out there is showing this world. But it's like, again, goes back to what do you want in life? Not what others say you want or what you think you should be doing, and go with that. Because some people are quite content just sitting at home, but as long as they're truly happy and fulfilled, that's fine. So again, stop comparing yourself to others and thinking you need to do this or that to be successful or happy, and ask yourself that question of what do you want in life. So I have I journal every day still, and the main few pages of my thing are like, this is what I want my life to be like. And I always take the small little steps to get there. There will be road bumps in the way. That's fine. I'm like, I know it's going to happen. So just keep going. So the key thing I guess I want to stress here is just asking yourself, what do you want in life? Not what you feel others think you should have or what it means to be successful. Is what do you define as success and what do you want, and go from that.
Just to backtrack a little, I want to touch on your journey a little bit more, because you've only mentioned some of the more recent years. Do you want to talk about, do you want to give the timeline from the beginning? So people, you've mentioned it in pieces. It'd be good to kind of go from the beginning and dive into each section a little bit more.
Cool. So, so when I was younger, I guess growing up as a Sikh, we have, Asian in general, it's a very hard work ethic, isn't it? And my parents, typical Indians, we had a grocery shop. It wasn't on the corner though; it was in the middle. But, so my mum and dad, absolute legends, worked hard for us. So I always felt obliged to be there for them, because I loved them and they gave me everything they ever wanted. So I'd run the family business as well, and I never really knew then that I was an introvert. So I'd be running the business, be home, and I'd always feel like there's too much noise. And the noise, and I want space, and then I couldn't get that space from a young age. And then I'd start to kind of think like, and then I also realized that when I was in primary school, for example, I couldn't resonate with people because they were very loud, but I wanted to be quiet. So I changed myself to fit in. So I picked up a mask and I adopted this mask of trying to be someone or something to kind of become popular. So in essence, I took away a part of who I was to fit into the crowd, and it worked. I was popular, people wanted to be around me. We had a great time, but I was never true to me. And then I realized that being that way wasn't right, and people were only there for that person, but not me. And then I started to have these negative beliefs that I wasn't good enough, and people wouldn't accept me the way I was. And then all I would hear was just too much noise. I'd never get a moment to be by myself. And I thought when I was by myself, I was happy. I was like, but this isn't right though. Is it happiness to kind of sit in a room by yourself and feel good? But I don't know, that was one of the traits of being an introvert, for example. And I would then seek the approval of my parents, because it was never good enough. Like school, for example, you pass your exams, you didn't get an A, you're not good enough. Again, when you get to high school, it's a different arena. It's your body starts to change. You go through processes, and so forth. And you're now in a position where you develop these feelings for other people, and you want to be, something, and you want to become popular in the crowd. So I kind of again looked to kind of my intentions were always good, but my actions are wrong. So when I was in high school, money was never an issue. It flows to me abundantly, and it never brought me happiness. So I'd treat other people. I'd walk into school with X amount of money in my pocket, and I'd take my friends for lunch and do this and do that. And I realized that those people didn't care for me; they cared for that. I was being used by these individuals, and again, that would upset me and make me feel worse. And I never felt accepted. And again, not realizing that the way I was as a person, that core was right. That I didn't need to adopt this mask and another mask and that and so forth. And then when you're in high school, you want to be cool and be a part of the right crowd. So I'd get involved with the wrong people, and it kind of created it created a new identity for me that wasn't true to me. And I kept coming home every night thinking, this isn't right. This is not me. And I went through a spell of depression when I was like 12 years old, and I really got down to the point when I was like, this is trying to kind of have these masks on and trying to fit in is not working for me. What am I doing wrong? And people are not accepting me. I tried this, tried that, to a point when I believe I was 13 years old, and I'd had enough. So I picked up a knife, and I thought, okay, I'm going to end it all now. I can't do this. I want out. So I drove it into my stomach. Being the fat kid I was, it bounced back out. But something stopped me there. I couldn't do it. And I'd go to bed every night crying. And I guess at that point, I realized something with me. There was a great deal of pain within me. But I'd go to bed and I was like, you know what? No one should ever go through this. by themselves. There needs to be hope. And in that kind of moment, I had this, and I was like, there you go. That's what you're going to do. And from that moment, I made it my purpose to kind of become who I was meant to be. And I went out there to try to make people happy, make them realize that there was always hope. And even then doing that, I went out there and I became more kind of confident in myself, and I did it. But I still had my beliefs because I still not being accepted. It was never good enough for society. And what I thought success was, I wasn't achieving. I'm not the smartest person academically. I struggle when it comes to, reading, writing, and I had a bit of dyslexia when a kid. Even when I speak, I used to stutter, and I still do to some degree. But I made a conscious effort to accept that and better myself. And I let these little things put me down. And again, going through high school, for example, you'd see your friends meet girls and have relationships. And then they think about what to do in university next. And I'm like, I don't have a girl. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't have a clue what I did in university. I'm not smart enough. I can't just about do my ABC and read, let alone think about doing a degree. But one thing that was great, I was a grafter. I worked hard, so I focused on that. And then I think it was backtracking again, when I was 6, I took up martial arts, and that helped me a lot with my kind of limiting beliefs and my confidence. And at the age of 13, my sensei then introduced me into lifting because he was an ex-bodybuilder. And then what I found was like going to the gym from a young age gave me that kind of, I went into the weight room and I was like, I found this kind of strength, this, something came over me. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, and that became my kind of quiet time. So I'd go in there and do my training, and I'd walk out every day. Me not knowing anything about training, would have a Snickers post-workout because it's like sugar and carbs, and it tastes absolutely amazing. I had no diet in place then, and I just ate whatever, but I was lifting, and that started to build this confidence in me. But again, during going through the high school period of my life, I still had those limited beliefs and thought down to myself, because it's hard when you've got all these people grouping together, having a laugh, and they all just stay in the background, and you don't know how to relate to them, because you don't necessarily think it's cool to want to go and drink alcohol or go and smoke a spliff or whatever they thought it was to be cool. And then even with that, I never really had that experience of my teenage years, because I'd wake up in the morning, go and open the shop, my father, go to school, come home, have an hour in the gym, then go back to the shop. So I almost felt like I didn't have any life. And that experience kind of just made me feel more and more upset about myself, to the point where I was like, it goes back to that situation of me wanting to try to commit suicide when I was 13. But I stopped myself then, and I used that pain to kind of move forward. But again, I still had the that within me. And then it came to obviously deciding what to do with my career next. So I was 18. I got into university to do a degree in sports science, but I was like, that's not me. I'm not going to be able to do it. I enjoyed training, and I was good at that. So my route was to go down that. So I found a company called Premier Training. I did my level 3 with them, and I became a PT. And I believe at the age of 19, I started training. And I thought, this is great. But even within me, I still had those limiting beliefs. Because one thing you learn as a trainer is that you've got to walk the floor. I do believe it's a kind of extroverted career, because you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to get your clientele. And again, I'd go into the gym floor, try to get my leads and and I was like, I can't do this, man. I can't approach people. And I'd come over every night being upset and then that little thing would make me upset. And then I would just bring up all this stuff from the past to then just, make the situation worse. So going back to how I was saying earlier about how things are quite simple, but we just make it into something bigger. So I found a balance, and actually got myself a job near me. And then that's where I met Ben, who's another one of our coaches. And and then from there, actually, no, it was before that, sorry. Before that, all these negative emotions with me and this kind of desire to kind of get out caused the kind of first negative event to happen in my 20s. So when I was 21, and it was October 13th, if I'm right, it was at 3 p.m. I crossed the road same road I've crossed every single day of my life, nothing different. And the next minute I wake up in hospital. And I'm like, I have no idea what's happened, and there's a neurosurgeon over me there. And, all I hear is that your son's got 48 hours. And I was like, what? And then I didn't actually know what happened. So, for me to realize that, I found out that I'd actually been hit by a bus crossing that road. And from what I was told, I was hit by the bus thrown 30 feet, and I was given a fractured skull and a brain hemorrhage. And I'd landed on my hip, and I kind of lost the kind of mobility on my right side of my body. So I was straight rushed to Charing Cross Intensive Care. And my first memory was waking up and vomiting, and hearing that. And then in me, I was like, nah, I'll be fine. And I went back to sleep, and I remember hearing his voice within me saying, we don't give up. So I didn't. And the third day came, and the neurosurgeon came up to me and my father, and he was like, I have no rationale for why your son is alive. So, and I sat there laughing, and I was like, nah, I knew I'd be fine. So 3 days later, I walked out of the hospital with the fractured skull. It took about 6 weeks for that to heal, but I was fine, defying all odds. And in that situation as well, this goes back to how I believe my life has been shaped. I believe I brought that situation upon myself because I had this negative energy within me through my teens and these doubts, and they manifested into this physical event. It's almost within me. I kept trying to manifest a situation of getting out in the world, trying to commit suicide and so forth. And I believe that all of that then created this negative event. And then I actually realized again, no, I didn't want out. So I got back up, and I had to have 6 months out of training, and I got back into it. And then I got the job close to me, and that's when I met Ben, for example. And from then I kind of truly began my career as a PT. And then from there on, it was quite a successful journey, but I still had my doubts, because being a trainer, what do we think a personal trainer should look like? They've got bulging abs, they've got this, beautiful physique. And here's me there, Mr. Fat Kid, powerlifting, strongman, not necessarily having that look. So I had my doubts in me, but I kept going. And again, it was trying to find that acceptance from people, because it was only, I think, to my mid-20s I actually realized that I came across information about extroverts and introverts. I realized that the traits I had with me were qualities of an introvert. We're not truly ever one, we're elements of both. But my introvert side was quite loud. So it was again, the kind of situation I had in my high school of trying to fit in, moved over into my career. You're around all these people who look great, the trainers, and you're like, shit, man, I don't look that good. I'm trying to get his attention. And now you're in your 20s, your hormones are flying, you want to meet people, you want to look to be in a relationship. When you're told that, you need to be married by your 20s and so forth, you're out there looking for this person. So I had various relationships, and my downfall was that I always thought that they would fulfill me, and my happiness and love was as a result of them and not me. And then trying to be accepted by these people wasn't happening, because I'd think I was doing things wrong, and I wasn't feeling, I'd always beat myself up too much if I said something or did something wrong. Again, be taking things to heart too easily. And then this goes back to then when there was an individual in my life where I gave them everything because I believed that's what it was to be in a relationship. You be that romantic, you give them all the energy, the time, and and it just, I never really got anything back from it. And then that goes to then when I was 26, and then wishing what I did, and then being diagnosed with what I had. That's kind of journey there in a nutshell. But then it was from that period afterwards when I got to 120 in my weight, I was like, I need to do something now with myself. And I then embarked on this journey of getting leaner. Now, the reality is like, it didn't take me 12 weeks or, X amount of months or a year. It took me longer. It took me 4 years, because I get to a point and think, nah, this is too easy. Self-sabotage. Go back down to square one. Get to a point, self-sabotage. And it was a back and forth journey to the point last year where I was like, I needed accountability. And so I reached out to a friend of mine who gave me some help with my nutrition. And the next step was for me to like then say I needed to leave the country and put myself into a completely foreign environment where I had none of these kind of external factors that put me down. And I went to Sydney last year, trained my ass off, and I got down to 65 kilos from 120. But this happened over 4 years, not 12 weeks or 3 months or whatever it is. So this is what I said to my clients, is I was like, this whole journey is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. You're going to fall, get back up. You're going to fall, get back up. You know, there's no failure. Failure is only when you say within yourself, okay, I'm done, I can't do this. You know, if you keep, you stumble, you get back up, stumble, but keep going, because you'll get there. And even now, look, I came back to London in December, and I put 7 kilos on because I ate loads of shit food and I didn't care. But I'm back in that journey now. I'm losing weight, and you know, and I know that I'm going to get there, but I'm giving myself this kind of harsh time frame. I'm like, it'll get there, it will happen. Just be patient with it. So I know, there's a lot I've just said there, and this is not necessarily me, but yeah, I hope you guys have got a nutshell of a bit about me. I guess when some of you guys meet me in person, you'll get more of an insight. But I still have my kind of views on how I see myself, and I still beat myself up. But that's a part of me, because that's what gives me the purpose I have in life and my drive, because I'm a product of my pain. But that pain is a gift of strength and love for me. And without that, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So I would never change anything. If I had the capacity to go back in time, I wouldn't change anything, because all those moments have shaped the person I am today. And I know I'll always say I'm nothing special and put myself down. But the truth is, I know how great I am, and I know what I can do. And I know I have this ability to make a massive difference in people's lives. But I don't need to kind of shout about it. That's within me, you know. And for those of you who know, spend time with me, and you realize what makes me me. You know, like even right now, as Akash asked me to do this, and I was up for it, but this is very foreign for me, and I've probably gone off tangents here and not structured this, because this is my nerves behind me, but this is me. You know, you sign up with me as and you get me as a coach, you're going to get me, and that's my vulnerabilities as well, because I want you guys as clients to experience the fact that we as coaches here are not the finished product ourselves. Don't come to us thinking that, we've got the abs and, we've got the clientele, we this and that, we're successful. No, we've got our story. And just like you're on a journey, so are we. And again, it goes back to the fact that I'm not better than any of my clients, and you guys are not less. We're all the same. I'm giving you a snippet of my journey, tools that have worked for me to adapt to your journey and get you better. Because us as facilitators want to get you to your potential. And again, it's not about being better than me or anyone else. It's let's get you to where you can be, in the best version of yourself. So yeah, that's, I guess, me in a nutshell. I'd like to do more stuff like this. Let's go back to the timeline. I was actually getting ready for a talk on TED once about willpower and love 10 years ago. I had a business coach for that, and everything was good, but that's another situation where your limiting beliefs kick in, and I sabotaged myself, and I didn't do that. I was in a position where I booked 10 years ago, same thing again, because I let the beliefs of others knock me down. I stopped that. I don't think any of you guys know, but I used to be quite big on Facebook and Instagram. I used to post a lot on personal development. I used to have a blog. I'm not the best when it comes to spelling and grammar. Like I said, I had my kind of dyslexia when I was young, so I'd write things on how I felt they should be written. They weren't necessarily grammatically right. So when I had my blogs, they'd come across as me, but not written in a way for people to understand. So I'd have people make fun of me with that. And even with some of my posts, they could be quite esoteric and metaphysical out there, and quite kind of a bit out there for some. So I took things down because I thought I was wrong. So hence why some of my clients ask me, "You're not really active on social media, are you?" I'm like, yeah, because that's not my arena. And I allowed those other people's beliefs on how I should be affect me. So one thing I want to stress here and round up is like to each and every single one of the people who listen to this, who are on this journey, no matter what anyone says to you or wherever you are, how you feel, just remember you are great and you're perfect the way you are. And the fact that you've reached out and asked for help, it's a massive step. So whenever you have those moments and you think, oh, this is not going well, the scales are not coming down, I've just ruined my meal, don't put yourself down. Because look, all the other coaches aside, I'm on you guys with this journey, because I have that battle within me right now as well. I'm how many times are you going to hear this from me? I'm back in a cut, because it's hard. It's not that easy. When you're prone to naturally being someone who was overweight, for me to get to as far as I did, I literally lost a person. I lost 65 kilos. That's like a little man, I've lost. And I'm always going to be prone to want to go and eat the food again and put that weight back on. So I guess with me as a coach, it's that very much the empathy of understanding that it's not, here you go, guys, 12 weeks, let's get you lean. There's going to be roadblocks, but just know you'll get there. I have this very kind of famous, I call him this term, I say to people a lot, is like, life is simple in the sense that when you go to a coffee shop, you ask for your flat white or your cappuccino, whatever you want, and it's going to come. And you let go, you don't worry about it, do you? You don't put any energy on it. And then you get it. And that's the same thing with life. Whether it's your transformation, whether it's a relationship, whether it's career, know that it will happen. You just can't control when and how. And in essence, that's how I live my life. I pretty much have this philosophy as where, like, you hear this all the time, trust the process. But do people actually trust the process? No. Because you put it out there, then you want an instant, okay, it hasn't come. Oh, I need instant validation. Where is it? It's not here now. Let go, detach yourself from the outcome and let things just get you there. Because we believe that life's going to be a straight, linear path, when in fact it's going to be ups and downs. But ultimately, you do get to your end goal. So just when you sign up or when you are on your journey now, just realize that in some cases it can be quite straightforward and easy, because you have some people who have that mindset of like, give me my numbers, give me my food, my training, and I'm going to do it. I'll get there. But I do believe the larger clientele we will have will be like, okay, it's going to be up and down. But have that belief that you are going to get there. It may just take slightly longer than 3 months or 6 months, but you will get there, and don't give up on it. So again, off there, a bit of a tangent.
No, I just wanted to let you run with it. It was very well put, and your story is amazing. And I really do hope that as many of our clients across the whole of RNT listen to this, and they get a real insight into your life and the journey you've been through and the lessons you've learned that anyone can apply into their own lives. And I think the way you finished it is the perfect way to do so, in that it's not a matter of if, it's just when. And everyone has their own journey. Everyone's running their own race, and it will come.
I mean, the truth is like, life happens for you if you let it. I'm a firm believer that, that you're here, so the universe brought you here for a reason. You weren't just born for the sake of it. You're not just another statistic or another number. You're a unique individual, just like the stars out there that shine bright. You're one of those, and you have this, I don't know, I only wish people could see what I see in them, because we have this capacity to do so much greatness, and we let these little things get to us, and this is me talking to myself right now. I know what I should be doing, but I still put myself down. And, but that's something I'm working on, and I let little stupid things get to me. Like, here's a little funny one to put out there. I remember saying to myself, oh, a girl wouldn't be interested in me because I couldn't ride a bicycle, or I can't swim, or I could just about speak properly, And I was letting these irrelevant, stupid little things put me down. And I was like, no, don't do that. Focus on what makes you great. So one thing I want to say to clients is like, get yourself a little pen and paper and write down what makes you, what makes you great. Little things like a lot of our clientele are, couples, married, for example. Why is your partner with you? Why do they choose to be with you? Focus on those aspects on the happy side, because I know in reality, as much as I believe everyone has the capacity to achieve what they want in life, I know deep down some people won't be able to, because it's just the nature of the situation and so forth. But I won't give up hope on those guys. because if I can experience the things I have, so can you, and I'm nothing, in that respect. And in my eyes, each and every single person out there is so much more better and so much more powerful and beautiful. You're here, you're a miracle made, manifest, and make the most of it. Don't get caught up in this kind of mindset of, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I can't do that. Embrace your life, and you'd be surprised at what happens if you just have that little bit of faith. And it goes back to what I said earlier, less is more. Give the things you want in life less energy and not give it too much kind of emphasis, and let things just, flow there. There's a famous saying, what go with the flow, and people don't do that. They always want to go against the current because they don't actually do that. Life is very simple. When you look at a stream, the water seeks the path of least resistance. It's the same thing with life. It will always seek the path of least resistance. So don't complicate things. If it means like you get into your goal in a year instead of 3, but you do it in a way which gets you there in a more content, happier way, then do that. But don't worry about the when it's going to happen. Or just know it will. That's it. And don't let go of that.
Perfectly summed up.
Yeah. Just a little bit of humor here, guys. This is probably one of the most different podcasts you'll probably hear from RNT. But yeah. So here you go, guys. I'm Indi.
Welcome to the team.
I'm one of the RNT coaches. I have an interesting story, and I'll always be that one that takes the piss out of himself, and not in a negative way, purely out of my strength and love. If you do have the fortune of meeting me in person, and that's not me being arrogant there, I'm saying it in my confidence, feel free to pick my brains, because each and every one of you are amazing. And I'm grateful that you guys will come on board and sign up to RNT. And I'm grateful for you to, that you guys have found the strength to do this. And I'm not just saying this because I'm part of the team, but we have some great coaches, and you guys have seen the transformations we've achieved with people so far, and you can do it as well. Just know that it will happen. I'm going to keep going back to that. Don't beat yourself up, and don't overcomplicate things. Set things out, be patient, and you'll get there. And one day you'll see a transformation from me as well. Maybe 2 months, 3 months. Who knows?
That's good. That's going to be one hell of a before and after there.
Yeah. I mean, guys, if you just want to think of like the Michelin Man, so that's my before, the Indian Michelin Man. Actually, no. If you guys actually watched the Ghostbusters film, remember that big marshmallow man? That was me before. And after will probably be something like, let's see, I don't know, something more greater than that. But I'm on it. Yeah. So I know it's it's being a bit of a...
Like you said, in your own advice, you're going to get there.
Yeah, I am good. And I think that's one of the things why I guess I want the clients to know is I was like, we're not the finished product.
No.
We're still on our journey as well. We've just got a bit of a toolkit at the moment to help you. And that's it. We're opening doors for you, and then it's up to you to step through. And you guys will get there. And this goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. So remember why you signed up, that why, and also ask yourself, is that why you, or is that because you think that person or society thinks you're not right? So again, question why you're doing this transformation. What's the deeper reason behind it? Not necessarily, I want a 6-pack, I want to look good, because this goes deeper than that. For me, starting training when I was younger, it was a way for me to cope with depression. It wasn't, I wanted to look good. I wanted to lift heavy. When I went into the gym and I picked up that weight, I felt something else, this kind of elation over me. And I walk out of that and I think, I'm 1 million pounds. That's why I trained. I was never interested in having a 6-pack or bulging biceps. If you know me, all I care about is having a great big back, but then it came to a point when I realized that I was happy being fat, but I wanted to see how far I could go. And so that's why I've chosen to get leaner, not because I'm happy being, Mr. Indian Michelin Man. No, I'm doing it because I want to see how far I can go. So me going into it is accepting who I am right now as an individual in every essence, good or bad, and then knowing that where I'm leading to is just going to be a brighter self. That's it. So it's not like I need to get there to be happy. I already am. So try to adopt that mindset as well, guys, is accept yourself the way you are right now. Be content, because again, you guys are perfect the way you are, and find that within you, find that kind of love and that courage within you, then move forward, because we'll get you to where you want to be, and that's a fact. If you adhere to what we say and you put the work in, you'll get there. But I don't want you guys to get there and think, okay, I'm still not good enough. So this is more than just a physical journey, so yeah.
Amazing. On that note, let's finish up on a lighter touch and go with a rapid fire question. A couple of rapid fires for you.
Cool.
Okay, the first one is, okay, you're coming up to the end of your cut at the moment. What's the first meal you're looking forward to that's off plan? All
right, so this has already been planned.
It's already been planned then, okay?
Yeah, it's good.
What is your ideal then?
So, in me personally, I just love good food. So my ideal meal would probably be like, a good bit of a good steak and some potatoes, but that's still healthy, isn't it?
No, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be. I mean, steak and potatoes are hardly low calories.
Yeah, low calories. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is treat myself to a big plate of nachos and a big bowl of ice cream as a starter.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm going to go with two of my favorite pizzas from Papa John's, and then go back to square one. So I'd probably be a pizza, to be honest with you, my first meal.
Pizza, cool.
Because in my eyes, pizza is just like, is there any nutritional value to a pizza? No. I just love the taste of it,
Okay.
So yeah, pizza.
Cool,
yeah.
Pizza. What's your favorite place you've traveled to? I know you're an avid traveler.
Oh, that's a very good question. Every place has its own sort of uniqueness, but I guess if it comes to mind, it's Singapore.
Okay.
It's a sterile country. It's very clean. People are very friendly. But my main reason for going there is like, I have a love of hotels, and probably one of the most architecturally designed best hotel is based in Singapore. And I remember
which one?
Going there, the Marina Bay Sands. Okay. So it's 3 towers with the skyship on top.
Yeah.
Biggest infinity pool in the world. So I remember going the first time there in 2011. I thought this was amazing. So it's important to me because when I got back from that trip, I made the effort to kind of get myself a job there. So when in 2012, I was offered the position to work as a trainer in Singapore, and I was all set to move. And it was in that moment I was diagnosed with cancer, so I didn't make the move. And then with me, I was like, I never knew if I'd ever get back to that hotel or visit that place again. And then 4 years later on, back into my career, everything was good. I went to Singapore. I went to that hotel and I sat there in tears of happiness because 4 years ago I came here and I never knew, I had no idea what was going to happen to me next, but I made it back. So yeah, Singapore's the place for me.
Amazing. And what's the one country that is on your bucket list to visit?
At the moment, bucket list is Japan. Ever since I was a kid, I've always followed like a kind of had that samurai philosophy in martial arts and learning Eastern philosophy, and I've always put Japan on like kind of, let's say, a pedestal. I always thought, okay, I need to go there. Every year I look at it, I'm like, no, I'm not ready. But fingers crossed, I'll be in Tokyo this year, and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Awesome. And just the bonus one, who should we have on the podcast next?
I guess let's bring Ellie on board. Let's hear his story.
Great. And that's definitely on the cards.
Yeah. So I know we've, as you guys know, we've hired 2 new coaches and great addition to our team, and they've both got great, unique stories. So it'd be great for you guys to hear their journey as well. And I hope some of you who do get the pleasure of working with them, because they're great individuals and they're good at what they do, and take faith in their abilities, and they'll get you there as well.
Amazing. If you enjoyed today's episode with Indi, please share it with your family and friends. For more information, please visit www.rntfitness.com or follow us on Instagram at rnt_fitness. Thank you for listening.